Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How I'm supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in. How'd you get that done so quick?
They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there, you understand?
You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.
The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. Views and opinions expressed by Hotep Jesus are those of Hotep Jesus's and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Hotep Nation or any of its officials. If you have any questions about this disclaimer, please contact our Office of General Counsel via the sheet of account. And Hotep and them.
2, 1, boom. Hotep Jesus.
Of all the Jesuses I know, he's the Hotepiest. Social scientist and YouTube host, Hotep Jesus.
How the fuck do you get a name like Hotep Jesus?
The one and only Hotep Jesus.
Ryan Sharp, better known to the world as Hotep Jesus.
Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Somebody said, what do you think you are, some kind of Hotep Jesus?
Ooh,
and
that's
I was
good.
Just like, ooh, that's sexy. Yes, I do think I'm Hotep Jesus.
What's up, Hoteps? Welcome to the Grift Report, live Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. I'm your host, the Grift God.
Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Oh, this a real Hotep brother.
Hotep to the chat. Hotep to the Hotepistanis.
Hotep.
What up, y'all? I got a special guest here with me today. We broadcasting live from the Hotep Cave, somewhere in Hotepistan. I got me, joining me today, Matt Christensen. Matt Christensen, what's up, man? Welcome to the channel.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. That's a sweet soundboard you got there. I need to step up my game. That's pretty cool.
My collection of celebrity shout outs. Yeah, I really appreciate those guys. Alex is truly the man. We don't have much time here with you. I just want to get right to nitty gritty. How did you become Matt Christensen, the podcaster? You know, what were you always in broadcast media? Was it something like, oh, I can do this too? How did you come about and get into broadcast media?
Total accident, actually. I got onto YouTube in about 2012, and I was doing video game content. And the reason I started doing it is because I played way too much Call of Duty back then. And I was living in California away from all my friends and my family. And so I spent way too much playing that game with them and not enough time, you know, making friends in real life like I should have been. But if you've ever played online video games and you've had interactions with the random people online, when they get really angry and they start talking trash, the interactions are hilarious. So I started recording those back when they were still good before, you know, Microsoft and Sony and the rest of them kind of clamped down on that. But I for several years, I made videos on a really niche channel just about people raging at my friends and me playing Call of Duty. Over time, it became harder to make that content because the companies cracked down on a lot of that chat that made it so funny. But I had this established YouTube channel and I wanted to continue talking about stuff. So I just started talking news and politics and that sort of stuff around 2015 or so. And I used to be a reliable Democratic voter. And around the same time that I moved away from video game content, it was right around the start of sort of the Trump era. And
why were you a Democrat voter?
Well, because that's what I thought. I thought they were the good guys. That's
what was it? Because like your parents were Democrat voters, or
I just always kind of had been. I mean, I was a big believer in sort of the social equality values that they were articulating. And I was a big believer in government's ability to provide opportunity where maybe business or private actors don't.
Okay.
And so, it was the Obama era, and he was a very popular politician. And I don't say that with any pride. I wish I would have been smarter then, but I wasn't. I was in my 20s, and there are a lot of things that I would do differently now if I were reliving them.
Okay.
But as I moved away from video content and into kind of news and political commentary, that was sort of the start of the Trump era. And back in 2015, 2016, I didn't like Trump really as a policy guy, but I watched the people I thought were my team, being progressives or leftists, however you want to characterize them, celebrating things like shutting down his rallies by force, other ways of, I guess, compromising the values that I thought we believed in, chief among them free speech.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I watched the betrayal of those values, I started to think over time, what else are they wrong about? What have I been misled about? And that really has brought me to where I am today, which, fast forward 7 years after the fact.
Hold on. So if I were to type in "never Trump" with your account, would it pop up?
No, because I actually voted for Trump in the primary of 2016. That was the first Republican vote I ever cast in my life. So it's always, my relationship with Trump has always been more on like the entertainment level, even though I think he's did some good things on a policy level. And I would vote for him again, and I expect to. It's always been just like, for me, my appreciation of Trump is the show. Yeah, and I want to see the show continue coming into 2024, which I know, rationally speaking, is kind of a bad reason to support a candidate, or at least I'd like to have a set of policies I want to see pursued. But for me, I'm so disillusioned with DC and the idea that anybody's going to go in there and clean it up and fix it, that I just want to see the show that Trump provides. And that's kind of where my mind was at in 2016 too. It was like, well, I don't know if I agree with everything he's saying, but the people who oppose him are dead wrong. And I love the show he provides. So whatever, I'm doing it.
Yeah,
that's how it started.
I'm here for this show. Like, I was looking at, what his cabinet might look like. And and you can tell me if you agree, disagree, substitute. But I had Trump Prez, I had Vivek VP, and Laura Loomer, press secretary, with Sonny Johnson as chief of staff. What do you think about that lineup?
It would make for the show.
It would make for the show. That's all I want is the show.
Laura Loomer as press secretary. That's probably the most interesting pick among them. But like I said, I want to tune in. And if I'm thinking that the entertainment value here is paramount, that would provide it. I'd be surprised to see Vivek picked, though. And I've been pleasantly surprised with Vivek, generally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I'd oppose it or something like that. But
who you got?
I don't know.
Well, I think there's prediction in who you want, right? So who's your prediction and who do you want?
Oh, who I want would be Rand Paul. And who I want as president would probably be Rand Paul, but that's not happening.
Right.
But a Rand Paul pick would be great. Who I think I was expecting or am expecting that he's probably going to go the woman route, but
Nikki,
I can't imagine that. And he said something the other day or over the weekend to the effect of she's out, like she's not in consideration.
Yeah, thank God.
I've been talking to some friends about this, just, like friendly bets about who it might be. And my pick last week was Kristi Noem, because she's kind of just disappeared. She hasn't said much lately. She is actually the betting favorite, which surprised me when I looked it up.
Yeah.
But my friend pushed back on me and said, no way, because she is speculated to have had an affair with Corey Lewandowski. I'm not sure if that's legit or not.
Yeah.
But he was saying she wouldn't be brought in for that reason. I don't know. I think Trump might go the woman route, and I don't want people picked for their demographic characteristics.
Sounds like DEI to me. Sounds like the woke right to me.
Yeah, probably. But I think that's the direction that's going to go. Then
Why?
Again, I'm wrong in them, because I think that the campaign theory is going to be, we got to appeal to certain demographics who might not be in our camp.
But
one of which would be like
deliver New Jersey because he's Indian.
I'm not arguing the wisdom of it. I'm just saying, like, I think that's the theory. I think they'll probably look at like where Trump underperformed last time around. And I know there are a lot of questions about last time around, but suburban women, for example, underperformed for Trump, or he underperformed with them. To bring in a candidate who they think could pull that kind of vote, I think is the theory they'll probably pursue. It's very safe. It's very boring, but I think that's probably the route they'll go. Maybe not though. I'm wrong in almost all my predictions. So
it's so
that's good
trash.
news for you.
I feel like the Democrats have done such a terrible job that you don't got to play this game this time around. Just come with the big shots. You know, let's go with an all male campaign. Women should be at home cooking and cleaning. We don't need them in politics, and just go from there, man.
That would be interesting to see. Trump has a very wide latitude in things. His Overton window is very big, I guess. What he can say and people will forgive him. Not that I'm saying your point is wrong necessarily. I'm just saying it would be shocking from a mainstream politics perspective to have someone come out and say, you know, I don't think women belong in politics, period.
Yeah.
If anyone could say something like that and maintain broad support, it would be Trump. I'd be curious to see what the reaction would be.
All right, let's get back to Matt's views. Yeah. So let's fast forward. You were not a never Trumper, voted Democrat pretty much your whole life, flipped a switch, voted for Trump. And then at some point, the algorithm hit you. Did you experience some negative reactions from the algorithms of the internet?
Yeah, I think everybody who's in this sphere could testify to it. Sometime around 2019, well, first there was the adpocalypse, which I'm sure you're familiar with, where YouTube started deciding what sort of safe content was going to receive ads or not. Then around 2019 into 2020, they started deciding who was a reliable news source or not. And very clearly, my channel or channels like mine, I assume maybe you're involved in that too, you are not trustworthy to the people at YouTube. And so what that means is I've only been suspended a couple times. Like they've taken my channel off for a week or two here or there for ridiculous things. But what shut off at that time was YouTube's referrals to new traffic. So back in the old YouTube, if you made fantastic content that people were engaging with, if you really put out something special and everybody was commenting on it, everybody was liking it, that would get rewarded in their system. The system would respond and say, well, clearly people are engaging with this. That must mean there's something good about it. Let's push this to new eyes and get it some traffic. Now, there is, at least on the channel that I have for myself personally, I have my own core audience that's very stable and I'm very thankful for. And they're watching our stream every Sunday, and when I was posting my individual content they're there every video, and so that maintains. But you can see in the channel data, YouTube sending that to anybody new, it's a ghost town. Like it does not happen. So this weird effect where I exist in this kind of dark corner of YouTube. If you know about me or you've listened to my channel for a while, you're there. But nobody new will ever discover it. And it doesn't matter. I could break the most important news of all time. Not that I'm saying I was, but it doesn't matter what I post or the value in it. YouTube will not push it to a single new eye or ear. And that's been frustrating for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. I look at it as a gift and a curse. Because on one way, like you've illustrated the curse, right? And the other way is like it's a gift because now I don't have to deal with the backlash, right? Like I say something and that means that an audience who would have never seen this won't see it. So I don't have to deal with their comments, their ignorance, them reporting my channel. I think you would get, if it was suggested, you'd probably get your account. Your account probably wouldn't last, right? Like people would just report. And I think that's the same thing on Twitter. How's the Twitter algorithm treating you?
Oh, I pretty much gave up on Twitter, and it probably would be better if I raised the point, because I know that a lot of people who were formerly banned have had their accounts restored. For me, I was put into a bizarre ghost world on Twitter too, where all of my content was sensitive by default. Like I could post a picture of my newborn son, and they would say that's sensitive content, like it's behind a wall that you got to click. And so
when did this happen?
Probably about the same time.
Pre or post Elon?
Oh, way pre.
Okay.
Wait, yeah. And since he's taken over, I still use Twitter as a news aggregator and to just promote my stuff. I don't really conversationally engage on it as much anymore, but I can see just as an observer it has improved quite a lot. And I know that for whatever was applied to my Twitter account in the prior regime, if I just kind of complained about it to the right people, it probably would have whatever's going on with that taken off. But I don't know. I became so jaded with Twitter too. It's like, whatever. I mean, I'll promote my stuff here, but I don't know what they're doing behind the scenes, and I'll focus my energies elsewhere. And what you said about building an audience that is loyal and an audience that's genuinely interested in what you have to say. I've certainly experienced that, and we've had our show on Sundays has done well over on Rumble. When I was still posting my individual material over there, it was doing fine over there too. So there are other avenues to build new things and try to reach new eyes and ears that way.
What do you focusing your energy on? You mentioned you're focusing your energy on other things, like instead of Twitter, you're doing something else. What are you focusing your energy on now?
Oh, I make my material, and when I say other things, I mean specifically like family. In the last couple of years, I got married. I've had 2 boys. One was born 6 weeks ago, and so thank you. And if you're on the internet all the time, it's a miserable existence. And I say that as someone who loves the theater of politics, and I find a lot of entertainment in it. And of course, I care about our society doing well. I want to build a good future for my family and my son. So it's more than just entertainment. It's about the lives that they'll live. But I also recognize that if I sit on the internet and engage with every random person who wants to pick a fight with me about this or that, I will lose my mind, and I'll have misprioritized my life. That's time I should be spending with my family and with my sons. And it's difficult enough I want to make material that's worth consuming, that's worth the time of the click. I don't want to put out stuff just for the sake of putting it out, or that's a waste of someone's time. That consumes enough of my time and energy that I focus on that. I put it out there. People can enjoy it, hate it, whatever they want. But for me, the kind of social media interaction is not something that I've put a lot of energy into over the last few years.
I think you nailed it, right? You're talking about opportunity costs. While you're doing this, you could be doing something else. And that's how I view it. Instead of me sitting online, arguing with strangers, I could be giving my attention to family, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's much better time spent. The ROI over there is much, much, much greater. Spending time with your kids is going to have a much bigger ROI than, some troll, bot online, et cetera, et cetera. So talking about Tenant Media, you signed with Tenant Media when, and what does that deal look like? How much money you getting? What was the sign-on bonus? How much do you have in your checking account? I need all the details.
I'll send over a bank statement right away. No, I mean, this is not like, I wish that I could say I'm living on some like fancy palace, at some mountaintop looking down on all you peasants. It's really not like that. But so Tenant for me has been a great opportunity at the right time. And this was first pitched to me over the summer, late June, early July. Are you familiar with Lauren Chen?
Yes.
Blaze personality. So she and her husband came to me and said, hey, we're thinking about launching a new sort of media group. And we're looking at, we're trying to get a group together, and we'd like to host their content and just build something that will be sort of an entertainment hub, and hopefully a place where we can post this content and maybe be a little bit safer from the forces of censorship and all that I think we all expect to come this next year. And for me, that's a very interesting opportunity. I've always been a free agent working independently, and I still am working independently. I make the material for Tenant. I hand it over to them. They're not trying to tell me what to say or how to say it or anything like that, which is of course crucially important to me. But she and her husband came to me and said, we're trying to do this project. We like the stuff that you make. We would like to host it there. Can we work something out where we host this material? And I'm very interested in working with a group like that isn't trying to control me or tell me what to say. And so for me, it was important to be able to participate in that while also not handing over the whole farm. There is risk in starting something new. Tenant was started from nothing. They've got some big personalities on it, obviously, but as far as like the channel itself or the actual the website, all of that, it was started from zero. And there's risk in doing that. Just because I ask my subscribers to go over to this new place doesn't mean that they do. I hope that they do, but you don't know that. so we worked out a deal where I would bring over my individual videos that I make twice a week. They're usually about 15 minutes long, single topic type analysis stuff. And they will host those, and they're still free to play for anybody. They're still free to access for anybody. They're not paywalled or anything like that, which is also very important to me. And then I also do a Sunday show, the Matt and Blonde show. And I've been doing that stream we started doing that summer 2016. And I've kept that for myself. I've kept everything related to that for myself. That's still on my channel. And so that was a great deal for me too, to be able to take a risk in trying to expand exposure to my content without handing over everything I have and retaining kind of that safe home base of my Sunday show and the audience there. And it's been great, man.
So what was the sign-on bonus? 100K, 2 million? How much did you get, man?
I wish it was that high. I can't get into specifics.
Did you get a sign-on bonus?
To be transparent, there is compensation.
Oh shit!
But it's not as fancy as you might think.
Okay, so you didn't get a Joe Rogan type deal.
No, okay. Nor do I deserve one. But
so how does the deal work? Is there like revenue share based upon viewers of your show? How does that whole thing happen?
All they're asking for is just the rights to host 2 videos of mine a week, and I do a Wednesday stream as well, and that's all set.
So
obviously,
so did they pay you per episode? Do you get a salary? What does that look like?
I can't get into the specifics of the contract, but I can tell you. I mean,
I want to be all in your business, man. I'm trying to be all in your business, man.
To be as transparent as possible. There is compensation, but that's as much as I can say.
But you can't tell us how the deals are structured.
No, I don't, and I don't think that would be fair to them. But I'll tell you,
Absolutely.
if you're interested in discussing kind of the business end of Tenet, one of the reasons I'm so enthusiastic about the opportunity is because Lauren and her husband, I think, have exactly the right set of values and have the right idea in their heads. And I think if you wanted to talk to them about it, they probably would be open to it. But sure. I can't speak for them. And it's not that I understand that transparency is great, and I want to be as transparent with my audience as possible. But I also have to respect their end of it. And
absolutely. I don't want you to break your NDA, your confidentiality agreements. Definitely not. Just very interested in how that business is run and how, some of these media outlets are moving nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
For my audience and myself, just for, general education purposes. The country's in a very weird place right now, specifically social media. And in some ways it bothers me. Do you notice like a rise in white identitarianism happening online now, or is this just my imagination?
Yeah, it'd be hard for me to measure it, but just in my own gut level, I mean, I would say yes. But I would offer just kind of my own experience, and I don't really identify as a white identitarian, but I would say that a culture that is constantly, Gavin McInnes, I think, put it best a few years ago. He said something to the effect of, I never really thought of myself as a white guy until you started telling me that I suck because I am. And then I looked it up and we made all the best stuff, or something like that is what he said. Which is a funny point, but there's some truth to it too. And I don't say that like with animosity toward other races or cultures or something.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that, like, okay, a lot of what has made America great was built by people of European culture and influence. That's just factually true. And I'm not saying that to exclude another people, but when someone tells me or implies that I'm a bad guy, or that I have inherent privilege, or that I'm oppressing others on account of my race, I think the natural reaction is to get a little more protective of that, to get a little more proud of that, to push back on that.
So who is that? Who is that is pushing these concepts?
The white people suck concepts? Or I think it's there's been a lot of control seized in centers of influence. So whether we're talking about academia or media or I don't know, whatever other politics, obviously, who specifically is driving the anti-white narrative? Yeah, I mean, I don't have.
I think
the
you kind
list
of nailed
names,
it, right?
But...
Like with academia, for example, I think that's a great example of somebody who is wholly responsible for a lot of the agendas driven in this country. I think a lot of the pushback that I'm seeing online to that is sort of the aha, it's your turn now, right? Like, especially from some of the black conservatives I see online, I follow. It's like, that was what black men were getting. Like, you guys are thugs and you're a detriment to society, blah, 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 blah. And then nobody really spoke up on our behalf, right? Like, no, specifically conservatives, right? The only ones that really spoke up were white liberals and Democrats, and not for good reason. So, you know, now it's like you're complaining, and then we sort of look at it like, oh, well, why don't you just pull yourself up by the bootstraps and stop complaining? And, you know, since you invented all the great stuff in the world, this shouldn't really affect you in real life. You know, that's sort of the pushback I'm seeing online. For me, it doesn't seem like there's a real reason to have some of the content that goes out. To me, it just seems like grifting, right? Like, people kind of just want to get the clicks. It seems like it's just a clickbait thing now, where they're pushing out all this, hey, look, you know, Whitey got beat up by a black guy. You know, Whitey got beat up by this black girl in school, you know, that type of stuff. So you really think there is a legitimate reason to have this, I guess, white identitarian pushback?
Well, I guess I understand it. In a perfect world, like, I care about values more than I care about racial identity. Obviously, if I'm deciding who my neighbors are, I care about what their values are first and foremost.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, people of more of an identitarian inclination will say, yeah, but values correspond strongly with race and culture, which I think is also an indisputable point. You know, crime rates are what they are. Voting habits among racial demographics are what they are. So it's not with like any sort of enthusiasm that I say those things. I want all people to adopt good values that lead to prosperity for them, regardless of race. And I suppose, you know, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink, kind of thing. Like, you can preach these values if people don't want to adopt them and they make poor choices that lead to their own suffering. I suppose there's not that much that you can do about it. But yeah, I don't.
Do you think white people are affected by this in the real world? Like,
affected by what?
This pushback against, I guess, I want to say specifically it's about white straight males. And then they try to throw the Christian thing on there too. Do you think this stuff is leaking into real life and people are affected in white men are being targeted in real life? Or is this just like an online thing?
No, I think it's quite real.
Okay.
One thing we were talking about on the show the other day, white male recruits in the Army are down something like 50% over the last 5 years. I guess to your counterpoint, maybe that's because of some perception rather than anything actually going on in the recruitment. I don't know. I have a hard time believing that it's all just internet culture that would lead them to stop enlisting in the Army. I this week for my Wednesday show, I've been talking to a couple Boeing employees about this airline, this door plug blowout on the Alaska Air flight the other week, and about DEI within the company. And these are two white male employees, but they're telling me like, yeah, this stuff is going on where people are selected for jobs on the basis of race or on the basis of gender or sexual orientation, and they're being promoted on those demographic characteristics rather than performance. Qualified, high-performing white men are being passed over in the interest of, you know, the diversity god or whatever. So is it like, I think everything is amplified or exaggerated on Twitter, surely, or any place you have online anonymity, you're going to see like the most extreme exaggerated example of everything. But I don't think that the anti-white male sentiment is purely a figment of the internet. I think there's quite a lot of reality to it. I would say maybe it's not like the internet version of screaming in someone's face, you suck because you're a white guy or something like that. It's more just like, okay, it's time for performance evaluation and performance. Do we pick the diversity candidate here, or do we pick the white guy who's been doing his job faithfully for X amount of years now?
Yeah, it's quite a conundrum for me because on one hand, I hate DEI. On the other hand, I know that black people, specifically from white liberal run companies, have experienced discrimination, right? Like, we had the Jim Crow era, and then a lot of that stuff moved on and became a little bit more hidden. And so it's a very precarious situation between, like, okay, there's really is racism. And then it's just like, how do you solve racism in the corporate world without it being DEI, right? I, for one, if I'm flying on an airplane, I don't give a shit who they are. I just want the best pilot possible, right? However, I think my issue with the whole pushback on DEI is they play it as if it's a black thing. And from my point of view, it's not a black thing, right? Like affirmative action, it's been known affirmative action specifically helped white women. So when we look at something like DEI in some people's mind equals black. Does that compute in your mind the same way that DEI equals black? Or
I think, and I encountered this a little bit in the conversations I had with the Boeing guys, that when they talk about promotions in the workplace and stuff, my mind tends to think racially first, when in multiple cases they were talking about gender or sex in the way that you were talking about women versus men as opposed to black versus white. So right. I do think my mind is sort of primed to think that, to your point, that it sort of defaults to race as opposed to other characteristics.
Right. That's my I'm sitting here looking at the stuff online. They're saying DEI, and it's like they're mad at black people. I'm like, hold on. DEI is about the rainbow before we even get to, that's the color they want, is the rainbow before they even get to my black ass. Right.
Yeah,
so for example, if I went and did everything I had to do to become a great pilot, I'm not passing the background check because I'm Hotep Jesus. I'm not getting that job because I'm black. I'm not getting that job because of my political views. You know what I mean? So it's just like DEI does not recognize race. It recognizes political ideology. And that's really what DEI is about. DEI is about who's going to follow our political ideology, that being cultural Marxism, the gender issue, and feminism. And I think if people spoke about DEI like that, you'd get a lot of black people like, yeah, I'm on board with these white guys. That's what I see happening too.
That is interesting. And to your point, I guess, are there examples of people who are like black people, women, gay people, trans people, whatever, who aren't in lockstep with the progressive narrative? Are they selected for affirmative action or DEI reasons as commonly? My guess is no, to your point, if they're outspoken about it, at least. If they're outspoken in challenging that narrative, they probably don't count for the demographic checkboxes. I don't think that's crazy to say.
Right. So the first line of demarcation is political ideology.
Yeah. And that doesn't sound crazy to me.
Yeah. So that's why, to me, it's a bit frustrating watching it, because I'm like, the black man is the white man's greatest ally, and the white man is the black man's greatest ally. But somehow the powers that be got us looking at each other like we're enemies. And I'm like, nah, we're being divided based upon race while they're playing a political game, a political ideology game.
Yeah.
A cultural game,
Yeah. To me, everything feels more racially charged now than in my entire life.
Right.
I've gone to school with I never thought of race growing up in friends I had as much as I think about it now. But to your point, I often think about it like more defensively, I mean, I talk about facts are facts. The truth is the truth. They're among any group of people, whether you're dividing by race or you're dividing by sex, or you're dividing by income or whatever, you're just going to have averages that are different across groups. That's just true. And there's no value in denying that truth. At the same time, though, I want to be, I want to treat each individual who comes before me respectfully and appropriately. So it's not like if I see an individual black guy or an individual gay person or something, I'm going to make a whole series of assumptions about that person based on demographic characteristics. But to me, the reaction that I feel now is more, I guess, defensive. Like my brain is thinking, what are they
to me? Yes, defensive.
What are they thinking about me? What are they assigning to me on the basis of, say, like I'm straight white male guy who believes in like traditional American values. I don't know.
Right. And so that's the part that disturbs me as a man. Watching white men become defensive is a bit disappointing. I'm like, nah, man, grab your nuts and get on the offensive, man. Take your country back, man. This shit is fucked up.
That's true. And that's the other side of this, because even if these things, if this aggression or unfair treatment toward white men is real, and I believe that it is,
okay,
the answer is not to throw up your arms in frustration and quit and say that the world's against you and you don't stand a chance. Even if there's some truth to that, I think there is. The point is, with everything in life, whether it's like a bully at school or it's the forces of society who hate you on account of your race and sex or your politics or whatever, when you assume the things you don't like in your life are your fault, even if they aren't, you will put forth the maximum effort to change them and your life will improve. And that happened for me personally, not for racial and not for race or sex or, rainbow reasons,
right?
But because when I talk about when I was, a reliable Democrat and in my 20s, it just, I was more of a finger pointer, like, oh, yes, I don't like this, but it's that guy's fault. I don't like this, but I can't do anything to change it. Yeah. Once I changed that attitude, it's like things started changing. My life got better. Now I've got my family and everything that's worthwhile to me. And it's because I put in that effort and assumed that I could accomplish these things if I put my mind to it. So when I raise my sons, that's the kind of thing, the sort of things that we'll talk about. Like, yeah, there's some people who don't like you on account of who you are, but it's your obligation to work past it still.
And that's the other thing that bothers me is that's how men are supposed to think. And it's like the right is going on that line of live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And it's like, now you guys look like libtards. And, now we're calling it the woke right, because now it's like, oh, I'm complaining about, not enough diversity and what happened to me and woe is me. And I'm like, that's what you said the left was doing and you made fun of them. You can't do that now. Right. So, and the other thing too is, this isn't a, okay, let me take that back. It's definitely an attack on white people, white men, straight white male, conservatives specifically, but it's just that it's your turn, right? Like they already have destroyed black men. We're done. It's a wrap for us. So you're just next, right? But really what they're trying to destroy at the core level is real positive masculinity. That's what's really being attacked here, so that there's nobody to protect the woman and the children.
Yeah. And you can see, it's so interesting becoming a father the last couple of years. And my oldest son is just over 2. I've got a newborn now, but watching my oldest son develop, you can see, number one, like there are things about him that are just programmed. Okay. He loves trucks. He loves Tonka. He loves all that, loves playing around in the dirt in the backyard. Nobody primed him to like those things. Nobody told him that you're a boy, so you're supposed to like trucks. It's just programmed into him. And you can see that what he needs from dad and mom are 2 very different things. And the idea that I'm interchangeable with my wife or something, we're not. I mean, when he falls over, he gets a boo-boo, it's straight to mom and mom has to kiss it. When he wants to experience something new and a little bit dangerous and a little bit fun, well, it's off to dad, because dad can he can toss you around, he can take you out to new places, he can do all sorts of things that mom can't. And it's just very interesting to watch. Like you can see it through a little boy's experience, even though he's not even saying anything. His experience with his father and his mother is fundamentally different. Both are necessary pieces to his development and his upbringing. And when you diminish or remove masculinity from that equation, he's not going to be raised to be the same boy or the same man, period. And it's, and I would say the same thing for my wife too. I mean, when we mesh genders in this way and act like these distinctions aren't meaningful and men are women and women are men, you could be whatever one you want. No, I mean, the value that my wife brings to him is not just that she carried him and birthed him. It's that kind of nourishing comfort, that's stuff that I just can't provide. Like I can't provide the same hug and kiss to my son, even if I tried. It's just not. It's like a mother's embrace is just different, and what she does for him is just different. And I totally agree with your point that you start manufacturing weak men or no men at all, you watch social downfall, and I think we're witnessing it.
I want to be respectful of your time, and I know you got to go. Last question. What is the greatest threat we need to look out for in 2024, this very entertaining election year and disastrous and eventful? What is the greatest threat we need to look out for in this year?
I wish I had some answer that would be shocking. But the thing is, we've witnessed so much of it in the last few years, and that's what scares me about trying to answer that question. Like, what is the next thing? In 2020, I did not foresee crazy Chinese virus, that upended everything and totally changed the rules of how we vote and how we interact socially. So I don't know. I don't know. I guess the most dangerous thing to me is just believing what you're told. Whatever is on the news as the thing, probably assume the opposite and you'll be in better shape. I hate to be so simple in the analysis, but it's so bad these days. Like, whatever the current thing is almost certainly a lie. We've seen a sequence of that over and over again. And it's not just a lie. It's a lie to get you to behave a certain way. And exert a certain level of control over you on the basis of that lie. So just believing anything too easily, I think, is the greatest danger. I'd have to pick that.
Hotep Jesus?
Oh, this a real Hotep brother.
Man, nailed it. That's the shit I'll be saying. Matt Christensen, thank you very much for gracing the Grift Report. I have your X account description box below. I'll retrieve your YouTube and would you rather the YouTube website? What do you want in the description box?
Best would be to direct people to my website. It's got everything I host there, whether it's on my own or whether it's through Tenant, and it's mattchristiansenmedia.com. It's a long last name.
Can you send me the URL in the DM? I followed you and I'll post it.
Yes, I can do that as soon as you want me to do that right now or when we're done here?
Or we're done. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that as soon as I sign off.
Okay, cool. All you got to do is hit the leave button, and then I'll continue the show here.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Nice
Pleasure,
to meet you.
man. Talk to you soon. What's up, people? Matt Christensen. Interesting conversation. Seems like an honest guy. What y'all think about that? Thumbs up in the chat if you enjoyed that segment of the Grift Report. Thumbs up in the chat if you enjoyed Matt and some of the things he said. I thought he was on point. Catching up with the chat here. Steph says Christy Noam would be a great pick. Yeah, people keep mentioning her. Sarah Huckabee. I if you went women, I'm leaning towards Carrie Lake. You know. What up, Rue? Tell Grandma I said what up. Shout out to my Rumblers rumbling. I see you. Let's take a look in the Grift bag. And why is Rumble not? You're supposed to update to the live. Is Rumble not rumbling? No, it should be rumbling. Anyway. All right, let's go to the tape. Let's see what we got in here. Hold on. I kind of just been throwing stuff in here over the weekend. All weekend I've been laser focused on Men of Order, the rollout of the new product. You know, we have the testosterone supplement out now. Apex since launch, and it launched, I want to say last Wednesday. Since launch, Apex has outsold Flow for the entire month of January. So you guys must have some sort of desire for testosterone supplements. And I'm in that same boat too. I'm a firm believer in Apex. I been doing a ton of research on the ingredients in Apex this weekend and trying to really understand what it is that we're putting into our bodies. And from what I'm reading, I'm super excited. It seems like what's happening is, to say this in layman's terms, the herbs are congregating around the sexual organs, whether you're male or female. The effects seem to be in that area. If you're in the chakras, you're talking about the root chakra and the sacral chakra. That entire area seems to be where these herbs are activating. And, some people are saying it's a testosterone booster and all these different things. And I don't want to say it's a testosterone booster, because it's not what it is. Really what it does, it just helps your body stabilize the healthy amount of testosterone you should have in your body for your body type, size, et cetera, et cetera. So that's really what it's going to do. It's going to bring your body, like from my research, it's showing that it brings the body back to homeostasis, a state of harmony. As opposed to saying, hey, take this injection, this booty shot, you got BBLs for men called TRT and you're shooting yourself in the ass. And it's just like, I don't know if you want to do that. Something I'm opposed to. And I spoke to a medical doctor about, some of these shots that people are taking. He's basically saying what happens is your body becomes dependent on it. So when you don't have that stuff, your body's not producing testosterone, a hormone. So that's why we take the all-natural approach. We don't want to boost anything. We just want to help your body create the right amount of testosterone for you. I forgot to change the price. So it's still 70% off. So y'all should take advantage of that now and get grandfathered in at like $30-something a month for the Apex supplement before I remember to change the price. With that being said, let's go to the bag. Where should I even start? Y'all been so messy on the internet. Y'all been so messy. I want to look at this. This is funny. Let's pull that up. What else we got here? We got some World Economic Forum clips. We got to look at that. I think that was last week. White men no longer want to fight for a nation that scorns them. That was what we were talking about with Matt Christensen, right? I here's what I think. I think there's a bunch of different things happening here. I don't think it's just because white men are being targeted. I think it's just that everybody's getting red-pilled and understanding that you are no longer fighting for freedom. You are fighting for the military-industrial complex. I also believe that we're raising a generation of pussies, just, for lack of a better term. Please excuse my German. But we're raising another generation of feminine men. The media, these kids aren't growing up on the media we grew up. We grew up on Conan and Rambo. And when I was a little boy, I wanted to join the military. I tried to join the military. They wouldn't let me in because I had some legal issues. Okay, which have been expunged thanks to my great attorney. So I don't have a record, but at the same time, I couldn't get into the military. But that's what we wanted to do as young men. I think now, again, the red pill, access to the internet, all this information about military-industrial complex, you couple all that in with the fact there's a lack of media that supports people going into the military, and also the fact that everybody's effeminate. And I think the last piece is that because, white men, et cetera, et cetera. Also, when they say specifically white men, I mean, it's pretty much known that when it comes to recruiting, usually you don't got recruitment stations in white neighborhoods. You don't see them like the hood. Recruiters go to the hood to recruit. So that has to be a piece of the puzzle too. That has to be a piece of the story too. The fact that there are more recruiting stations near, I guess, what are we calling this? People of color? Near POC than there are your rich white neighborhoods. Rich white neighborhoods have universities and Starbucks. And we got Habib, Chopped Cheese, and the recruiting center. So again, there's a lot of different data points I think lead to the lack of enlisting for white men. Why is it? I don't like that new feature in Twitter. I don't like that it does that. The bookmarks act, they have a different behavior now. All right, let's pull this up. I'm going to give props where it's due. So, Patrick Bet-David, the Iranian, visited. He said he was craving a 7-Eleven hot dog. Now, I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, you do not want to eat a 7-Eleven hot dog. You don't want to eat a hot dog, period. But definitely not a 7-Eleven hot dog. Would not recommend. You know how hungry you got to be to eat one of those? Ew. I think this was more of him trolling because, again, like I said, he's Iranian. And the Arabs are known for running these types of joints. And if you look, Vivek jokes and he says, "Thank you for coming and don't forget to grab a Slurpee." I got to give Vivek props. Again, he's an internet guy, so he knows how to respond to things like the Babylon Bee. Most people want to get offended. And he's like, I'm not going to get offended. That's corny. That's whack. That lacks masculinity. So this is a very, very great take from Vivek. You run towards the joke. You don't run away from it. And a lot of people can learn a lesson about this. Just wanted to highlight that. That was some remnants of the grift bag from last week. Let's go into this weekend. We're going to talk about your homegirl, Nimarata. But first, I want to look at the World Economic Forum. I want to go based upon my own interests first. Then we'll get to some of the hot garbage coming out of the political arena and the small brain shit people choose to talk about.
If you go back really not that long ago, as I say, we owned the news. We were the gatekeepers, and we very much owned the facts as well. If it said it in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, then that was a fact. Nowadays, people can go to all sorts of different sources for the news, and they're much more questioning about what we're saying. So it's no longer good enough for us just to say, this is what happened, or this is the news. We have to explain our working. So readers expect to understand how we source stories. They want to know how we go about getting stories. We have to sort of lift the bonnet, as it were, and in a way that newspapers, aren't used to doing, and explain to people what we're doing. We need to be much more transparent about how we go about collecting the news.
So what is she basically saying here? If they got to be transparent now, what were they before? Obviously obscuring details. One of the things she said right around here, I believe.
Getting stories, we have to sort of lift the bonnet, as it were, and how we source stories. They want to know how we go about getting stories. We have to sort of lift, this is what happened, or this is the news. We have to explain our working.
Yes, explain your working.
So readers expect to understand how fact. Nowadays, people can go to all sorts of different sources for the news, and they're much more questioning about what we're saying. So it's no longer good enough for us just to say, this is what happened, or this is the news. We have to explain our working. So readers expect to understand how we source stories. They want to.
So you got to actually do some work now. You can't just say something happened and expect people to believe. That's how things should have been done all along. We do that on this channel. People have commended me. They say, Hotep Jesus, when you say something, you don't just say it and report it. You actually dig up evidence and support it. You think I do that because I want to create transparency? You think I do that because it's good best practices? No, that's not why. I do that because otherwise I would feel fraudulent. Like, just sit up here and be like, hey, XYZ happened, or here's why I think such and such, and not back it up. I would personally feel fraudulent. I'm like, no, if I say this, I feel like, so if I, as an individual, know it is wrong to say something without sources and evidence to back it up, you think these people in these think tanks don't know that? Of course they know. Of course they know. But the Hoteps making their job a lot harder. Now you got to compete with Hotep Jesus, because Hotep Jesus is feeding the people. Let's go to the next story. We're going to go to the phone lines in a bit. Text Hotep in your name to 202-596-5631. Text Hotep in your name to 202-596-5631 if you'd like to call in. Congratulations to Senator Tim Scott. She said yes. Mindy, thank you for making me the luckiest man in the world. He who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord. Proverbs 18:22. So the internets have been speculating. Some people say he's gay, and this was an arranged marriage. I gotta tell you something. The timing of this is very suspicious. Remember, who was it? Cory Booker? Yeah, Cory Booker. Remember when Cory Booker announced that he and let me fix this. Rosario Dawson were getting married, and as soon as he was done on the campaign trail, they broke up. So I'm just trying to figure out, what's Tim Scott's goal here? Is it to get a cabinet position? Because that's what all these politicians are about, right? It's like you have to create this perfect image. And this perfect image means not having facial hair, wearing a suit and tie, got to have a wife, got to have a dog. These are the things that make you electable. Just to show you how stupid Americans are.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
This is how you get elected in America. Shave your beard, put on a suit, get you a wife. She ain't got to be a real wife, and a dog. And now you're electable. Damn, this might be the dumbest generation in all of humanity. I think we could take a caveman from like day one in America, and they'd be smarter than somebody alive today. Let's give the caveman 100 year. Let's do year 100. If 0 was the first time a human came out of a cave, 100 years, I think they'd be much more intelligent than an American right now. Your average American. The other thing people are talking about is, I'm gonna talk about it. Chat, you know what I'm about to say here? Do you know what I'm about to pull? Let's see how well the chat knows me. For a 1 month supply of Flow or Apex, what am I about to talk about? What am I about to point out here? Let's see who knows me. Let's see who knows me. Renee Vogel. He beat everybody. Renee Vogel said it. He went and got himself a snow bunny. Uncle Hotep would be proud. Hit the like button. We only got 69 likes, 200 plus people here. Hit the like button. He went and got himself a white woman. Why every time these black conservatives pop up, they get a white woman? I mean, I don't have a problem with it. It just seems to be a trend. Now, I know it's very hard to get yourself a conservative black woman. That is almost an impossible task. If you're going to get yourself, the funny thing is you'd have to go into the Hotep community to get you a conservative woman. And she's only going to be conservative at home. Politically, she might still be a type of person that wouldn't vote for Trump. But damn, this is what white men need to be complaining about. All these niggas snatching up their women.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Or maybe they are. Let's go to the last story. We got Nimarata. Nimarata said, well, what did she say? Let me see if I can find a clip. I didn't. That image is hilarious. Where's Nimarata talking about, what'd she say? She dealt with racism or some shit like that? Who got that clip? I haven't watched the clip. And I spelled Nikki wrong. The fact that she even calls herself Nikki is just hilarious. Okay, that's a side by side. I don't want that. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at the clip.
We were the only Indian family in our small southern town. I was teased every day for being brown.
Does she look brown to you?
So anyone that wants to question it can go back and look at what I've
What are the requirements to be brown? Do you actually have to be brown? I don't know.
said on how hard it was to grow up in the Deep South as a brown girl. Anybody can look at my record and see when Walter Scott was shot down by a dirty cop, how I made sure that the Walter Scott family didn't suffer because we put the first body camera bill in the country in place. Anybody can look at the fact that when we had 9 amazing souls die in Mother Emanuel Church, I did something that no Republican or Democrat ever wanted to.
I don't want to hear the rest of this. I'm going to say this. I think she did experience racism. I believe it. You don't exactly have to be brown to experience racism. You just need to know. Like, little racist white kids just need to know you're a part of the out group, because that's really what this is. It's in group versus out group. It's not really racism. It's in group versus out group. In group versus out group based upon race, which is classified as racism. But at the high level, it's just in group versus out group. Dan, do I want to go into let's do a segue into discrimination, the nature of discrimination, right? So we take 100 people, we put them in a room, right? A comfortable room. And we put blue jerseys. Put your name on the back. We'll give you numbers. We'll even throw a ball in the room. And you got 50 over here, and you got 50 over there. You know what? The people in the jersey colors of blue are going to congregate, and the people of the red are all going to congregate. And if you imbalance those, the smaller group will tend to band together more strongly. Now, I don't know if there's any real experiments like this. The only one I can think of is the Stanford jump off, that the experiment with the inmates and prison guards, which is more about power dynamics. So that's why I didn't want to jump straight to that. But there is something about camaraderie and in-group versus out-group, our group versus your group, that just comes very natural based upon first appearances. And then after that, how you think, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the longer you let those people sit in the room, the blue and the red, what I think will happen is people will start exchanging jerseys. Like, you'll find that this group over here, you know, may think a certain way, and they're like, yo, get out of here. We don't even like you. John, we actually like you. Can we trade you? And you'll start to see people trade based upon, you know, ideology, but they'll need the shirt to identify. So identity is very important for how we understand this world, and mostly because, we have eyes that allow us to see. Anyway, coming back to the point of the matter is, I think she probably did deal with racism. I mean, as old as she is, I know I dealt with racism. Unc has dealt with racism. I don't know if she's dealt with it at the level we have. I don't even know how you measure that stuff. But to deny the story, I think is a political misstep. It's not the right take to go, oh, we don't believe you, right? The correct take is, from a political strategist point of view, is, oh, you're woke right. that's you're woke, right? Like that's the term everybody's using. Just label her woke and keep moving, because why are we talking about this? Why are we complaining about this? That's what the right talks about, right? Like they don't want to hear about racism and all this stuff. And again, it just comes back to the right is exhausted with the concept of racism. But denying her story, whether you believe it or not, is, one thing. But I'm speaking specifically for people with large followings. People with large followings who say that it didn't happen miss an opportunity to really get Nikki out the paint. The proper way to handle this is accept what people say as truth, then point out all the flaws in it. Point out all the flaws in how she talks about it, the story she brought up, relevance, etc., etc. I think that's the best way to go about all of that. Otherwise it's just like, y'all just acting like kids on the internet. Yeah, right. I don't believe you. Found a photo of her when she looks young. She looks more ethnic. I'm sure she does look more ethnic then. As time goes on, she wants to look more white. That's why she changed her name to Nikki Haley instead of Nemarata. She wanted to win in politics, change her name to Nemarata. The fact that Nikki Haley changed her name to the fact that Nikki Haley changed her name from Nemarata to Nikki Haley is proof that she feels like she lives in a racist society. That's proof within itself. Let's go to this last one here. Now this is what you call blatant hypocrisy. Now y'all know I love candy. Look at this. Again, political missteps. She says, to everyone dunking on DeSantis' supporters, yes, there were definitely a large number of neocons, a desperate reincarnation of the 2016 Never Trump movement who got behind DeSantis. Those people will be voting for Nikki Haley. There is no question. Feel free to call those individuals out. We all know who they are. Excuse me. But don't let your resentment for those individuals make you lose sight of the fact that some people who supported DeSantis did so not because they were never Trump, who they voted for in 2020, but simply because they truly believed DeSantis would do a better job than Trump in the White House. We need those people to vote for Trump and to not be turned away because people are wrongly attributing to them what the more obnoxious DeSantis supporters believed. A little nuance goes a long way. We will need votes to win. It's that simple. Now, I'm just thinking to myself, who the hell went upside Candy's head with a brick and knocked some sense into her? Because now she's talking sense. However, this is hypocritical. What if you took away DeSantis supporters and replaced it with Biden supporters? How would that turn out? You could apply that same logic to black voters. See, they didn't care. She didn't care when it was black voters because she was ingratiating herself. It was bringing her all this fame, right? She was playing into the white identity thing, the whole Christian thing. So it was good for her pockets. DeSantis hate, there's nothing to win there for her on a personal level, right? But now she's thinking about the greater good. Now she's thinking about the election and votes. But this is exactly what we've been talking about with the black vote. We need these people. Now think about black people in this instance. Black voters specifically. Not black people, black voters. There's two different things. We need these people to vote for Trump and to not be turned away because people wrongly attributed to them what the more obnoxious Biden supporters believed. Imagine if Republicans just followed that one rule she highlighted right there. Imagine that. How different this place would be. How different the political landscape online would be. A little nuance goes a long way. This is the nuance we've been asking from Candy for a really long time. Why do you guys keep saying shit that's killing the black vote, then complain, oh, we're not getting the black vote? So she got sense when it comes to inter-party beef, inter-party politics, but when it's intra-party, now we got a huge problem. You know, when we're talking about crossing that partisan line, now we got an issue. All of a sudden, everybody loses their common sense. They don't know no better. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So I like that she said that. I just wish she would have that same energy for black voters. That's what we've been saying, and nobody quite understood that. And mostly because everybody's grifting. Shout out to grifties.com. Make sure you go get your tickets. But I'm going to go ahead and go to the phone lines now. Text out to me name to 202-596-5631. If there's a story you think I missed, pop it in the chat, call in, and we could talk about it. Yeah, so I'll see you right after this short, brief commercial break.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How I'm supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in. How'd you get that done so quick?
They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there. You understand?
You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got Goldstein on the line. Goldstein, what up, man? Happy Monday and all of that. Hope you had a great weekend.
Yes. Yeah, it was a great weekend. Week started off a little tough this morning. I got into a fist fight with Little Tay on the internet, but it's all good now.
Wait, what?
I don't even want to get into it, man. It's just, that's how my week started. Fist fighting with Little Tay on Twitter.
The Little Tay?
The Little Tay.
What? The only thing I saw with Lil Tay was ZV Bear. She responded to ZV Bear and then like blocked them. And then so you got into that too?
All. Yeah, a little bit of it. I got into that a little bit, but you know, it is what it is. Enlarge my profile then, damn it.
Hilarious. So what you got for us today, man?
I want to start with your guest.
Okay.
He was a pretty decent dude. I do want to push back on one thing he said, though.
Okay.
When you brought up that this shit might be driven by perception, that like when you asked him, do whites experience this in real life, or is this perception driven?
Mm-hmm.
One of his responses was he didn't see exactly how internet perception could affect the decline in military recruitment. Right? He pointed out that statistic, and he said he doesn't quite see how perception could cause that.
Yeah.
I would like to offer this. That same level of perception that caused an increase statistically in motherfuckers getting their dicks cut off. So perception can be a motherfucker.
I'm trying to think what. So we were talking about white identitarianism. I think that it spills over into real life. And he said proof of that spilling out into real life is the reduction in whites signing up for the military. I believe that's how the conversation went.
Yeah, and then he said that he doesn't see how perception could cause that.
He said he didn't?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he said he truly believes that it's a thing and not solely based on perception.
Oh, it's a thing outside of social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a social media.
Yeah, he used that statistic to kind of prove his point on that. And I'll say to some degree, yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean that internet perception is the main driving factor in that. I would say that maybe like that's more of an internal thing amongst y'all and not necessarily the internet making it seem like all white people are under attack, and so the white men are like, you know what, I'm just not going to sign up for the military then.
Yeah.
I do believe that some people are affected by that, but I think most people are probably affected just by, if anything, internet-wise, would be the narcissistic culture that America kind of propagates on the internet more than anything else. Because if you have a link to a narcissistic culture, you're probably less likely going to lay your life down for some serious shit. You're more about yourself than you are about anyone else. So I think that might be the driving factor. But I do believe that maybe there is some contribution to the we hate whitey. But also, well, I guess one more thing as far as pushback goes, that call's coming from inside the house, man.
It's coming from inside their house. That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the natural reaction to that should be, well, goddamn it, you're white. I don't believe you. Shut up.
Because he's part of the same contingent that's allegedly pushing all this stuff.
Right.
A lot of white people.
Right.
So it sounds like a intertribal beef. And ain't got shit to do with us.
Right. See, when we were going through that dismantling, we couldn't necessarily say that because they were pointing to an outside force and saying, hey, yeah, they're attacking you. And they were that outside force, but you tend to believe that. Like, yo, okay, if they're saying that we're being attacked by them, they must be the good guys. And it must be true. But when you are that same force that's saying, hey, whites ain't shit, you just got to tell your cousins to shut the fuck up sometimes. You know? Like, shut the fuck up. Don't invite them back to the barbecue or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
yeah, I don't get it. That's why I asked these questions, because I really want to understand what's going through their mind. And you bring up a great point. Like, this is intertribal beef. It ain't got shit to do with the rest of us. And and in some ways, you would have to drop the white identity, because you can't say it's an attack on white men and then white men are pushing this, right? White men and women are responsible for this push against white people, right? So you can't say it's an attack on white people, or you'd have to admit that it's coming from, I think, what did he say it came from? What sources did he say? He said,
the Ivy League.
Ivy Leagues, the Ivy Leagues and academia and media, all of which are run by white people.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, imagine this. Just, sometimes people, this for the audience, not for you, but like for the audience, you could, this is how I kind of tend to think about the world in just small bites. So imagine this. You're at a family get together. Everybody in your family's there. Some cousins you don't know, some you do. But everybody in the family's at the house. You guys are eating. And then all of a sudden you start hearing rocks being thrown at the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
How foolish would it look for someone to come running in the house talking about we're under attack, and when you look out the window, it's your little badass nieces and nephews.
That's a good equivalent, yeah.
So it's just one of them things.
Yeah.
Now, as far as Tim Scott, I want to congratulate Tim Scott. Making arranged marriages great again. Making arranged marriages great again.
Mm-hmm.
And what's crazy, in doing so, he has out-Indian Kamala and Nimrata in representing Indian culture.
Because she's a Native American, right?
Who?
His wife. Or
No,
fiance.
it's just he's repping Indian culture more than Kamala and Nimrata by representing arranged marriages.
Ah, true indeed. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, he's put more down on how they represent culture in India than either one of them two ever have. Just in one day.
That's true. Because they believe in arranged marriages. That's true.
Crazy. Yeah. Tim Scott know what he's doing, man. He know what he's doing. You know, I have never given my vice president pick on the air or on Twitter.
Okay.
Never really said who that's going to be. But seeing him start dating that lady did make me raise an eyebrow. And now this definitely is sending him to the White House. So I'm calling Tim Scott as the VP because every good VP at this point in the game needs a good handler, and he has his now.
Damn. Tim Scott has entered the race for VP. Yeah. Yeah. And they still get their DEI, right?
They still get the DEI.
Look how funny that is with the Republican Party. They got mad options for a DEI pick. They could go woman, and they got a whole bunch of women. They could go Indian, or they can go black man. The people who hate DEI got so much diversity in their picks. The Democrat, I don't even think the Democrats have any diversity in their picks.
No, not at all.
Interesting. Tim Scott for vice president. You know what I mean? If you're looking for somebody who's like milquetoast boring, which is what a VP seems to be, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, he seems like the type of motherfucker that's gonna follow orders.
But can he win the presidency though? That's my thing. It's like Tim Scott, because whoever's VP this time, you know, I'm assuming needs to be able to win 2028, and Tim Scott can't win 2028. Republicans ain't voting for no black man.
You know, I don't think the powers that be are even thinking along those terms anymore. Both parties seem like they're about to crash out. So I don't think they give a fuck about long-term strategy plans or anything right now. Damn. They're just trying to get it right now.
You could be right. That's how they acting. They acting like they don't give a damn. You were right.
Yeah.
They definitely acting like they don't give a damn.
They know something's up, man. They trying to dig down into the ground and hide from the Lord. He's about to come back, bro.
A day of reckoning.
Man. Nah, but hey, I do kind of want to throw Nimrata some bell. You hit the nail on the head, man. She wouldn't have whiteified herself to this degree if she didn't experience that type of racism. That shit comes from trauma. You don't just abandon your culture to that degree just because it's politically expedient. You might do a little bit like Vivek did. But if she felt really, really strong about that shit, she wouldn't have.
Right.
But because she was probably beat over the head, and she's a woman, so she ain't going to really know how to handle that much abuse, then, yeah, I could see you easily abandoning the culture. Either that or doubling down and becoming a fucking radical, which we clearly know she's not. You know, there's only really two paths that's going to manifest itself into. So her calling herself Nikki, probably whiteifying her skin, because if you look at her old photo from high school, she looked like a Chicana. You could tell she was hella ethnic back then.
Yo, you know? I definitely think she was doing something cosmetically, or avoiding the sun altogether. Right?
One of the two.
Because there's a lot of women that do that, where they get too much sun and their people start to look at them like, I don't think you belong. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So either she's done something cosmetically or she's avoided the sun. Either way, I think she's purposely tried to appear more white.
For sure. And that comes as a result of trauma, like hurt. not trauma. I don't want to say trauma because that sounds all fucking drastic, but like there's some hurt there.
Correct. There's some pain.
That's the main thing I would point to as far as her being truthful about what she was saying. Now, she might have put 20 on a 10, don't get me wrong, but there's some of that there.
Yeah.
And Candace, she want to talk about, well, I seriously doubt that when you were coming up and saying all the shit that you said about beauty pageants and shit, that the world was in that state of disrepair as far as racial division is concerned. It was in the 80s and whatnot. And it's like, bitch, did you just pay attention to your man, Charlie Kirk, like 3-4 days ago, a week ago? It's like, come on. Yeah, this is 2024, and that same party that she representing, also represented through Charlie Kirk, decided to come up with that lame brain ass idea. Let's attack Martin Luther King's legacy.
Yeah.
So that's the level that still exists within the party.
Right. Yeah, there's still those lily white remnants in the party. You know, like, so, you know, I can't defend the Republican Party, you know, at all. There's nothing to defend, especially on the topic of race. If anybody asks me, is the Republican Party racist, my answer is going to be unequivocally yes. And the same goes for Democrats, obviously, right? That goes without being said. But, you know, the concept of attacking MLK, I just wish they would follow the same line of thinking as Candace, as I just showed on the screen. Like, are we trying to get voters this election or not?
Right.
Like, what are we doing?
I don't know, man. That post she made, I don't know. Candace, that post she made about DeSantis and like, oh, we need his voters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just shows her fucking duplicity on the matter.
Mm.
I mean, as a matter of fact, that post prompted me personally to also, as a bid for Rookie Grifty of the Year,
mm-hmm.
I expanded my grift into the cooking video areas of the internet.
I saw that. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was great. I'm going to have to play that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was as a result of her request that we take it easy on DeSantis voters, so I decided to cook them a meal.
I was watching that shit like, yo, where is this? I don't want to spoil. I mean, I say that I don't want to spoil it. We're gonna pull it up here after you get off and play the clip as soon as I find it.
But yeah, hey, I want to fucking congratulate you on the interview. Another great interview. I like your interview style.
Thank you.
I do like in interviews where the guest will tend to lob one or two questions back at the host. So that way it's not so much of a, I don't want to say interrogation, but it's not so one way. It's more of a conversation.
Yeah.
So in lieu of dude's lack of questioning, I would like to lob one to you.
Okay.
We've seen the rise of the woke right?
Yep.
Do you think that we will see some semblance of a rise of a based left?
Oh man, that's a real good question. So remember when they found the Osama bin Laden letter and women started putting on hijabs?
Yeah.
I think we're starting to see some of that. And you got to remember, because the horseshoe theory, the farther left you go, the more far right you become, and the farther right you go, the more far left you become. So, and that's why being a leftist is very dangerous and precarious, because of all their intersectionality. You could offend another group really fast. And it doesn't take much. Like we saw the other day, that principal who got caught with that hidden microphone, and he was like, you know, I'm going to join the other side.
Right.
If you follow the law of duality, if the right is becoming the new woke, then the left might become the new based. But traditionally, that's how it's been. Like, the left has been based and the right has been, well, I don't know what the right has been, but the left was the one that were like, anti-war and, what else? What else did the left get right? The FBI, Wall Street, they got that super right. Occupy Wall Street, they were super nail on the head.
Yeah.
So they definitely were based, and then they got co-opted. So maybe the powers that be have spent too much time co-opting the right, and now we could see an emergence of a based left. That would be very interesting. You're starting to see pieces of it with how they're pushing Destiny out there, right? Where he's supposed to be like the based lefty, ambassador, so to speak.
Yeah.
But again, it's hard for me to answer that question because my concept of base is rooted in Hotep. And I'm like, if you ain't Hotep, you ain't based. So neither the left nor the right is based, in my opinion.
Yeah, from the standpoint that I believe the woke right is a construct that is being purposely driven.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if there's going to be an equivalent to a based left that is constructed and purposely driven for an agenda.
That's a good question. I'm gonna need some time to think about that. That's a really good. Okay, so we got the woke right, astroturfed, and then so if the left became based, what would they become based about? Because it's a lot of different arenas. Well, we saw Jamie Dimon last week, basically co-signing the Trump vote. Islam is probably the top. I think Islam is the thing that we see rise. And that just goes back to some of the Illuminati predictions about Islam being the primary religion on the earth, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And a huge push for that. But I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that. That's a good question. Base left. It just sounds so oxymoronic. It's hard to wrap my mind around.
Don't it? But like 2 years ago, woke right did.
Yeah. Exactly. Which makes all this shit scary.
Man.
All right, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir, man. Hotep and Bill.
Hotep and Bill. Let's get Strong Dad in here. Cam, Cassius Cam, you in the chat. I got a video coming out promoting your blog post. Look out for that. Waiting for the editor to edit that. Based left. What the hell does based left look like? Strong Dad said there is a based left already. Yeah, but I think he's saying more mainstream, right? Because based left could be in the Black conscious community, right? Like, they're very leftist. Like, the conscious community is very leftist, if you ask me.
Call from.
Strong Dad.
They're like the left, like, and Strong Dad, help me understand this too. Walk me through this really fast. But the conscious community, it's like in their everyday lifestyle, they are conservative. But as soon as it comes to anything outside of the community, they seem like leftists to me. Am I right, wrong in that?
You're right. You're
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
They project politically and socially left, but they live their daily life conservative.
Yeah.
Sometimes ultra conservative.
Ultra conservative, absolutely.
Yeah. Sometimes ultra conservative. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That it's crazy. They'll get online and they'll speak one way, but then they'll, be
practicing
like
something
they'll sound
different.
like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like identitarian conservative even.
Mm.
So, I think the phenomena is it's based kind of off of same thing that I was talking about with the MoFax debate, which is that they base a lot of their social and a lot of education off of old knowledge that doesn't get updated, and that is politically and socially left. So because of that, they speak like them, but then they act a little bit differently,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what. But I was gonna say there already is a base left. There's been a base left for a minute now.
What is that? Where is that?
It's in the trans community. It's in the trans community.
The trans community?
Yeah, facts.
Wait, what?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Deep within the trans community, there is a based version of these people that are now when we describe base left, we're taking the most extreme, hardcore left ideas and kind of like pushing them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they already exist. They're in that community. They have some crazy.
That's true. There is like a civil war amongst the rainbow where you got.
It's been for like a decade now.
Yeah, you got gays who hate gays. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
why are you so gay? You know? And
But they're more than just hate gays. They're like, they.
But I mean, they hate gays from a perspective of I don't like your political ideology as a gay.
Yes, I would say that the softcore version of them would be like the Blair Whites and like the Brandon Straukas or whatever. Like that's the softcore version of them. But there are more, there are deeper versions of that. I've seen it in the ground during the protests. I saw it a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, whoa, holy shit. Yeah,
so somebody in the chat said the current right is the based left, and that's one hell of a comment.
Yo,
the right is the based left.
Yes, in many ways, yeah. Maybe this is why I've been having so much conflict with the way they've been acting, because it's been a reminiscent of that.
And the left very much has been authoritarian, right-wing fascist.
Yeah.
As we've seen it in the past, how fascism works, that's how they've been. That's how they acted. They've acted authoritarian, hard right fascist to make their policies come about. So
absolutely,
it does make sense that the right is now the based left. And that's the real party switch. Damn.
Man. What a world. What a time to be alive in. Yo, listen. First of all, did you work out today?
Yeah. Today was chest day. Good. But I had some hiccups.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I caught a crick in my neck last night, and I couldn't turn to my left this morning. And it was very painful going to the gym, but I thugged it out, and we still did chest day.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What did you do? Did you change your chest workout to work around that?
No. I did barbell bench presses, barbell bench press, decline bench press with the, I don't know what that machine is. You know, the ones where you put the stuff on the, I don't know. It's like
hammer?
A lever.
Hammer strength machine?
Yeah, it's one of them hammer strength machines. So I did the decline on that. What else did I hit the chest with? I think I did. Oh, no, I just changed the grip on the decline. I did wide decline, and I did close grip decline on the hammer strength jump off.
Okay.
And then I ended off with some stretching and some abs.
All right.
Yeah, I couldn't get my warm up in right though, because I usually warm up with a jog, and every time I stepped on my left foot, the pain just shot up. So I was like, I couldn't even treadmill like I wanted to this morning.
Okay. Now, as long as you're not like, destroyed, that's good. But I will say, even though I am a fan of thugging it out, lifting now to compete has changed my idea about that.
Okay.
And you can, if you feel pain, try to do an exercise where you can get equal stimulus and less pain. That's very important, because your body will divert energy to fixing your problem before it will to fixing to the muscle stimulus, to actually building muscle.
That's correct. I didn't have the same strength.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and then you're just wasting a workout. One time every other month, 2 times is not a big deal. But as long as it doesn't become habitual. And that goes for y'all out there who bench and have shoulder issues. Fix your shoulder issue and stop benching until you fix it, because your bench is not going to change. I promise you.
Yeah.
But that's not why I called them.
Okay, my bad. Go ahead. Continue.
That's not why I called in. I actually called in for something real short.
Okay.
white man, y'all gotta stop acting like bitches, man. For real. Like, I'm so sick of this white victim. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. I almost would rather hear Matt Walsh bitch about T people 1,000 times more than hearing this, because let me tell you what, man, I've been hearing all kinds of shit being a black man my whole motherfucking life, and that's never stopped me from doing the damn do. Why the fuck are y'all bitching?
Yeah.
Why are y'all bitching? Some of y'all got a net worth I ain't never touching. Some of y'all got 401ks, bank accounts I ain't never seeing, based off of your generational wealth. Why the fuck are you bitching, bro? Stop it.
Yo.
So what? People don't like you. People don't like the black man.
That's a good point. The people bitching the most getting paid the most.
Yo, that don't make no sense to me. How is it that my grandmama living in West Baltimore in the hood is out there doing the damn do?
Mm-hmm.
People been hating on her forever. She don't give a, but you, tough white man, living in an awesome neighborhood or whatever, you crying about what the people online are saying? Oh, you feel like a victim? You want to know what? This is what I see, because there's oftentimes when you see people get eaten like this, it could be, like a few circumstances. One circumstance, right, is the Sith circumstance where the weak gather to eat the strong, right, and they all become become weak. But I don't think that that's what's happening right now. I think right now what this is white man is actually legitimately weak right now. And they're being eaten by the vultures. They're being eaten by the scavengers. And if you fucking toughen up and grow a damn spine, then they won't be able to eat you. But you're on the savannah looking like a fucking wounded animal. That's why. Stop fucking bitching.
And the vultures
Get off of your
circling.
back. And they're circling. They're circling because the people eating them are not strong. The people eating them are scavengers. They exist on the outside of their society. And they're scavengers, and you're being eaten by them, which lets you know that you're on the way to dying. And if you don't want to die, you need to toughen up.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think, again, I've said this a million times. When I look at the right, I see niggas. I see the same problems with the same responses. And I tell them, just like I told the black community, build your own. Can't get a job?
Literally.
Make your own job. It's America.
Bootstraps, nigga.
remember the great concept of America, the land of the free, where you could just have free enterprise?
Yeah, it's crazy because my whole life, white man been telling me to stop bitching about race and get that, right? And so now here I am working for myself, fighting for that, and now he's taking up that position.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird.
We don't need to do that. We don't need to trade off.
And look at the people they're talking about. They're talking about airline pilots. And airline pilots talking about they can't get a job. Dude, you're an airline pilot.
That's crazy.
Trust me. You can get a job.
You're an airline pilot.
It's not a lot of people that could do that job.
Go fucking fly DJ Khaled around, man. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. There's always going to be a job for you as a pilot. It might not be the one you like. Also, I think that there are always changes within markets. So, you're not going to be recession-proof, this, that, and the third. But you kind of got to roll with the punches when the market changes. The market changes to DEI, and it's just like, well, did you think that? Because here's a big problem with people, right? This is a huge problem with salaried employees, right? Salaried employees think that the eating is going to be good forever. I'm going to stay at this job till I'm 60, cash out my Roth IRA, my 401k, and life will be cushy. And I don't have to do anything else until the boss knocks on the door and says, we're replacing you, right?
Exactly.
And now you're like, wait, what do I do? And it's sort of like, well, why didn't you create a contingency plan for losing your job all along anyway, so you wouldn't have to complain when that day come? And that's because there's a lot of comfort that comes with being a salaried employee. You get comfortable. That's what it's all about. And I always use this analogy of, a salaried employee is a zoo animal, an entrepreneur is a wild animal. If you take a salaried employee or you take a zoo animal and you introduce him to the wild, he will die because he doesn't know how to eat. He's not a hunt.
Literally.
But an entrepreneur or a wild animal, he's been hunting, trying to survive his whole life. So he can survive in the zoo, outside of the zoo. And that's how these salaried employees are, where it's like, well, you didn't know how to hunt for food. You never thought to try and get that instinct and figure out, some side business, some side hustles. You didn't make certain investments in companies. You didn't invest in menoforder.com to secure your future.
They had it too easy for too long. We was out here hustling everything, flipping everything. To me, owning a business that gets impacted in the winter, right? And having to hustle and conserve during the winter time, to me, is just like back when I was selling drugs. Like you got to just do what you got to do till it's good again. I don't understand the philosophy. I don't understand it at all. Just work hard, man. You know what? I want. Where the Al Bundys at and the Archies at? I miss them white men. They bitched about the boss, but they was working every day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Al Bundy, didn't he have his own store?
Yo, no, he was a shoe salesman.
Was that his store? I think that was his store, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't a store in the beginning. Now, I don't remember the very end. Maybe but it wasn't his in the beginning. He just worked there. He worked there, him and the black dude. You know what I'm saying? And it's a shoe salesman, but he had a home, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. I miss them times right there. There's a reason probably why I have more respect for the white dudes coming out the system, even because they just work hard. They work hard, and they don't have the benefit that the ones out here can potentially get. They ain't bitching because people don't like them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They lived in a whole place where people didn't like them. They don't care. Why does anybody care? Who cares? If people don't like you, so what? Mm-hmm. So what? They're not going to get buried with you. At the end of the day, who are you dying with?
So Al Bundy did not own the shoe store. It was a shoe store in the mall.
Yeah.
And it was owned by a character named Gary, who was seldom seen on the show. Al Bundy's role as a downtrodden shoe salesman was a key aspect of the show's humor and his character. Damn. Yep.
Yo, Al Bundy was my shit, man.
Yeah. Cassius Cam said there's a big difference between working and having a job. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Damn straight. Damn straight.
Hybrid said the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported the median U.S. pilot salary at $211,000 in 2022. That's real good money.
That's like what? Man, give me that 1 year, and I'm flipping it. If you gave me that in 1 year, I'm doing nothing but following the Doe Dube's footprint to millionaire status. I'm not finna be bitching on the internet talking about I can't get a new pilot's job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Especially if you've had that job for a while, you should be happy to get fired.
If you've been a pilot for that long, why don't you have a backup plan? With that money, you should have an exit plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you make money, you need an exit plan because one day you might not be able to walk. So consider these things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all, man. I'm just really annoyed at, like they didn't like it when we did it and I stopped doing it, and I'm not going to like it when they do it. Quit complaining about it. Blah, blah, racism, schmacism. Pull your bootstraps.
I didn't like it when black people did it. I still don't like it when black people do it, and I damn sure don't like it when white people do it. I'm just tired of all the bitch assness.
Yeah. Sounds like a bunch of cringe. You know what? If y'all want to complain about it, dye your hair pink. and call it a day, and we'll call you Z-Zer bitch niggas. But please, pick one or the other.
Yeah, the new base left. All right, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Thanks. Hotep and Bill.
Hotep and Bill. Let's talk to Rudy. Let a real white man call in.
Hey guys, this is something I like to cook up from time to time, and it all starts off with 1 cup of rice. Add that to somewhere where you can wash it thoroughly, and when you're done washing it, add it to your pot. Then you want to add about 2 cups of water or chicken stock, a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of Danos, or in my case, a lot of Danos, a little bit of salt, as well as a little bit of black pepper, all to taste. Then you want to start the boiling. While that's boiling, you want to add about 7 or 8 pepperoncinis to your cutting board and go ahead and chop those up. I like mine pretty fine, but some people like theirs a little bit more rustic. But whenever you're done chopping up your pepperoncinis, you want to go ahead and add those to the pot.
Press 1.
Let that boil for about 25 minutes. Okay. And when you're done, you'll have a healthy dose of something I like to call get your bitch ass off of my timeline.
Enjoy. What's going on, dude?
Yeah. Just playing that Goldstein video. Oh my God, that's hilarious. And what you get is a healthy dose of get your bitch ass off my timeline.
The Nephilim has a great timeline, don't he, dude?
Listen, man, he's definitely underrated for Grifter of the Year. Hugely underrated.
I don't understand why he don't get more traction, man. I don't understand why he don't get no traction, man. I really don't. Because he's too real?
Yeah.
That might be it.
I mean, again, if the woke right is the new base left, he's too real for the right and too based for the left. It's the same problem I got, right? It's just too fucking real. Like when you're too real, nobody fucks with you.
But see, I think, HJ, I don't think it's about a based right and a based left. I think it's just a based American down the fucking middle, man. I think the left and the right, the far extremes of each wing, I don't think there's nothing based about them motherfuckers, dude. They're just fucking idiots caught up in an ideology. I think the based, like what they say, like with Strong, they say, well, the based right is formerly the left. I mean, it's just, you got to look at it like, dude, 80% of us agree on a lot of fucking shit, dude. We agree that we want no more war. We agree that we don't want the fucking government all up in our shit. It's the fucking squeaky wheels on the right and left that get all the fucking attention. But when you boil it down to it, man, when you sit around and talk to your average fucking Joe in the store, dude, I picked up a dude Saturday night, man, and I didn't even bring it up, dude. Dude was straight out of Portsmouth, gold chain, gold teeth, out there doing his damn thing. Started talking. Was like, yeah, da-da-da-da. I was like, yeah, I did. He was talking about he just got out about 8 months ago and shit was going good. I'm like, yeah, I did a dime. We got to talking. He's like, out of nowhere, man, we need to get Trump back. I mean, this dude's we're the same. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really think it's the base left or the base right. I think it's the based American that's just fucking sick of this shit, man. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that. And then, I like Matt Christensen, man. I like his little single video. He seems like a pretty constitutionalist, principled dude, but he didn't call it out, dude. Like, white people are pushing the fucking white hate, man. The white left at the top, the same, because what Strong Dad said, quit crying about it. You know who's not crying about it? Blue collar whites, man. You know why? Because we get the fuck up and we go to fucking work every day. The only whites that are crying about it are the corporate whites that brought the fucking women into the workplace and then had to fucking kowtow to them. And then they got a kowtow and their whole little corporate structures being fucking destroyed by DEI diversity officers, just like the fucking white Republican Party. Now, DEI, we got to have a woman. Why? Why the fuck? They're not going to run Christy Nome because she just got caught cheating on her husband. Carrie Lake's all good, but, I mean, Carrie Lake was an Obama-voting Democrat. Bring in Vivek, man. Bring in Vivek. Tell DeSantis, look, you son of a bitch, thanks for the fucking thing. You're going to be the sec def. You're going to clean the fucking military up. So maybe some of them white dudes will come back in, because the only reason they're not coming back in because of diversity, they're coming back in because we're fighting pointless wars. There's a podcast called The Drinking Bros. They're all fucking ex-veterans, dude. And if you listen to them, man, and they're bringing on ex-vets, they're bringing on spec ops, the Sean Ryan podcast, because you got to listen to these dudes have actually fought the fucking wars. And you listen to what they're talking about. It's not recruitment's down because of DEI in the military. Recruitment's down because people are sick and tired of going to fucking fight puppet wars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with the DEI in there probably has, you know, a little bit of irritation. You know, it might turn that white collar fucking crybaby corporate motherfucker off. But the blue collar redneck that wants to go out there and fucking shoot guns and blow shit up with hand grenades, he's not going because of DEI. He's not going because he's sick and tired of the shit that he sees, man. And then you got guys like Bryce, the UFC fighter, talking about, I'm not going to fucking war in Ukraine. And you got the fucking your average fucking blue collar American loving fucking redneck, like, hey man, I'm not going out there to fight for fucking Ukraine. I'm not going out there to fight for. I'm done with this shit, man. You already lied to me and told me there was weapons of mass destruction in Iraq 20 fucking years ago. You sent my friends out there to get blown the fuck up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not about
that's what it is. It's a lack of trust in government, and the Iraq situation didn't help.
Man, the Band-Aid has been ripped off, man. And when I started following you years ago, man, I still had, I never trusted the fucking government because I seen what they did to me as an individual.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I never trusted the government. But, I'm from a military. My father was 30 years Air Force. My uncles were both 20 years Navy. I'm a military. I tried to join just like you. They wouldn't let me in because of a head injury I got when I was 14 fucking years old. But they're letting these mentally twisted fucking mentally health trannies in the fucking military like their mind's gone bad. But that's not the reason. That's not the reason why people aren't going into the U.S. military, because they're tired of the fucking bullshit, dude. They're tired of the veterans sleeping on the fucking street and you giving out fucking homes to fucking immigrants, man. They're tired of fucking the VA hospital watching their buddies fucking die, man. And you come home and you treat them like nothing, and you've been doing that shit. The only time they ever came home and got treated like heroes were World War II. And then, like, let's be historically accurate on it, they treated the black soldiers that came home from World War II like shit. Then the Koreans, when you come home from the Korean War, there was no fanfare and fucking parades in the street like there was World War II. Then when you went to Vietnam, you came home and you got spit on by your fellow citizens and called a fucking baby killer. Right? Then you take 5 years off and you start to fucking, then you go to Iraq, the first Gulf War, and they come home and, there's no fanfare to it. They're poisoned again by their own government, like the Agent Orange in Vietnam. You got the fucking depleted uranium shells causing the cancer. You got the fucking anthrax vaccine that fucked a bunch of them up. And they get no fucking love from the government, man. So it's to the time after fucking 50 years of abuse of the American soldier, and I'm talking about all of them, black, white, brown, it doesn't fucking matter. You've been abused by that fucking government. It's going to turn people off from joining that fucking shit. Yeah. And why do you think Dick Durbin's on fucking center stage talking about, well, if they meet all the requirements, these immigrants can come in. These immigrants wouldn't fight for their own fucking country. You think they want to come over here and fucking fight for ours?
Mm-hmm.
If the Department of Defense actually was all about defense instead of offense, you might be able to fill the ranks up with white dudes again.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a DEI thing. I think it's we're tired of the fucking government, man. And like
that's what I think it is.
He's absolutely right, man. Mr. White Man, you fucking white corporate assholes with your fucking ties that look down on blue collar motherfuckers like me that drive tow trucks and fucking tractor trailers and used to work on farms and dig fucking ditches. You built this fucking shit. You built it. You built it up. You put the DEI offices in. You run the fucking show. Stop fucking crying about it, asshole. Go pick up a shovel. Because the blue collar white man, the Cassius Cam, the Rudy the vet, I ain't bitching. I ain't bitching about this shit on. And like, Strong Dad made a comment about Matt Christensen, and this is the type of white guy Matt Christensen is. He's principled, probably a good dude, but he's the type of white guy where he's in the fucking crowd, and somebody gets in his face and starts talking to him and hits him with a jab. He's gonna walk away. That's the problem with that guy. Throw your fucking hands, homeboy. Win or lose, throw your hands, man.
Mm-hmm.
I've took an ass whoopings, man. I've been jumped, man. I'm going to fight. You hit me first, I'm swinging back, motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
I've been jumped. And these Ben Shapiros, these Matt Walshes, these crybaby corporate motherfuckers, you built that whole goddamn corporate system. You brought the DEI into that corporate system. You allowed it to be infiltrated. Now fucking take your fucking medicine, man. Eat your fucking crow, dude. Shut the fuck up. Quit crying about it, dude. Because that's not a blue-collar problem, brother. That's a fucking white collar problem for the fucking white collar white man, because the blue collar white man, we ain't putting up with that shit. We're going to go to fucking work, do what the fuck we got to do, man. I'm sorry for all the F-bombs, dude, but I try to keep it calm,
any
bro.
hope
But I'm
monetizing this episode has been destroyed already, so you might as well continue. I could never monetize an episode with your calling, so I'm not even concerned.
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna work on it. But this shit gets me so mad. It gets me so mad when you see these crybabies like Matt Walsh and Jesse Waters and Sean. You fuckers. Tucker's already exposed all the left-wing fucking ideologues that run around and run to Fox News, all the support shit. You got maybe some conservative people on air, but everything behind the scenes is all a bunch of left-wingers, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The corporate world, the corporate white, man, they're the ones that caused all the shit. They're the ones that, first of all, shit on the blue-collar whites, look down on us. Then you bring in the DEI, and then you get mad when the DEI comes around to bite you in the ass. So to the corporate white man, I say go fuck yourself. To the blue-collar white man, we know where the hell we're at, man. We're still holding strong. We ain't taking nobody's shit, man. And that's all I really got to say, brother.
I'll
see y'all at the Grifties, brother. Hotep and Bill, man. I'm out, man.
All right, see you at the Grifties, man. Hotep and Bill. Rudy on the check-in. I'm trying to find something here. I know it's going to give me some bullshit. It's going to give me some bullshit. That's not what I want. This book right here we go. How to Watch TV News by Neil Postman. It's definitely a must read. I've spoken about this book in the past. I have a physical copy of this book. Somebody mailed it to me. One of my followers many years ago mailed me a copy of this and said, you need to read this. Somebody like you needs to read it. It's called How to Watch TV News by Neil Postman. And the reason why I'm looking it up is because of this story right here. So New York Post this article, and it says NYC bound flight canceled when passenger notices missing bolts on plane wing. Phil, who will be attending the Grifties. Shout out to Phil that remains. Phil Labonte. He says, how long has this stuff been going on without people noticing? It didn't just start happening because people in politics started discussing it. Bingo. Nailed it. That's a thinking person right there, Phyllis. That's a thinking brain. His brain's working. So basically what's happening is this, right? So the book, How to Watch TV News by Neil Postman, basically how it goes is somebody gets bit by a dog. It's really bad, right? It's just a savage attack. And now that becomes trending news. So what everybody does is they go, since that story was so hot, let's follow it up with more dog attacks. Before you know it, they're reporting on every single dog attack, and now you just think dogs are dangerous, right? They've done the same thing with black people, so now you think black people are dangerous, right? When the truth of the matter is, this type of aircraft malfunction, the poor maintenance of aircrafts. I got family members who work on these aircrafts, and they've told me some crazy stories you guys just don't want to know about, okay? And this stuff has been going on since the beginning. And the truth of the matter is, only thing that has changed is it's become a trending topic. So people go, oh, something happened with a plane, let's report on it. Something happened with a plane, let's report it. It's hot right now. And it'll make you think that this stuff happens more often than it does, when really it's just that the media is reporting on it more often than they do or should, right? Because they should have, this should have been reported on a while ago, let people know what's going on with these airlines, et cetera, before they get on these planes. But let's be clear, according to statistics, it's safer to ride on an airliner than it is to drive in a car. At least that used to be the statistic. It's the policies of neoliberalism manifest John Mearsheimer had a really good 3-part lecture on it as well. Okay.
Call from
Steph Colonel.
We got Steph Colonel, then we're gonna go to Jonah. Steph, what up, man?
Yo, what's good? What's good?
What's good with him, man? Happy Monday.
Hey, happy Monday, bro. Hey, listen, that term the woke right, I'm running away with that shit, man. That's gonna be a household term in a few years. That's gonna be a household term in a few years, man.
Yeah, it's got me down about 200 followers right now, but I'm gonna continue to use it.
Hey, that means you're doing a good job. That's it. It's all up from here or down, however you want to look at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yo, honestly, dude, I think, and I'm gonna call this. I'm gonna call all this is going on. I'm dubbing it the woke right saga. And honestly, I feel like the woke right saga is going to potentially be the biggest red pill of conservatives going down the line. You're basically going to be showing you what not to do. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a mean red pill, and guess what? They're going to provide the content themselves. You're not going to have to go around saying anything. You know, you're not going to have to go around making the videos about it. All you gotta do when they say the dumb shit, you know, just point them out, and that's it. They're going to end up effectively turning themselves into an instruction manual, you know, a training manual.
Mm-hmm.
And because all they're doing is basically becoming Karens at this point, because all this shit that they complain about is just so like it's meaningless, it's weird, and it's just to the point where it doesn't make sense. Nothing that they complain about makes sense. And just like you were highlighting a few minutes ago, all this stuff with the airplanes, really specifically Boeing, because Boeing been going through shit forever, yo. Even before DEI was a thing. Like you'll find tons of articles where you'll have Boeing every time. Matter of fact, every time there's like a plane crash, it's always Boeing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the crazy part. It's always Boeing having some kind of malfunction. Now, a lot of the crashes might be like pilot error and things like that, but when it comes to actually malfunctioning to the point where the pilots can't recover and shit happens, it's always Boeing. That's why with me personally, I even said I wasn't even going to try to fly on the 737 MAX 8s for like 5 years, especially after the 2 incidents that happened back in 2018, where you had the crashes in I think it was Indonesia, and I forgot the other spot. But those happened because Boeing didn't want to teach the pilots of those airlines, or they didn't teach the pilots of those airlines how to properly operate that plane or to properly operate the software in that plane.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was they basically wanted to save money.
Mm.
And if Boeing were to, or not even necessarily Boeing, it was some airlines too that were involved in it. They basically wanted to skirt teaching pilots properly as far as operating these planes.
Mm.
So you got, before even DEI is a thing, before DEI was even thought about, you got these companies already trying to circumvent safety. So the issue isn't behind somebody's skin color. It's really deeper than that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, but you're not going to get that from, obviously you're not going to get that from these pundits. They're just going to look for a new scapegoat. And then once the DEI scapegoat plays off, then, they'll just move on to something else. And honestly, I'm here for it. Yo. I'm here for the sabotage. I love to see it. And when we come out on top, which we're going to, it's too evident at this point. It's going to look down on them eating popcorn and say, "We told you so, bro." That's it.
Mm. Somebody in the chat said, the door popping open Let me just get to what they said exactly. They said, I don't know, HJ, doors usually don't fly off the plane. Okay, you're right, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't happened. And again, I'm showing instances. 1989, there's United States Flight 811, cargo door falls off. Same year, March 18th, cargo door bus open. It seems like something that is not completely unprecedented. And of course, the one that we saw this year from 2024, where there was a cargo door failure. We also got another cargo door failure in 2003, several times in 89. So again, not unprecedented. Also, I think a lot of this stuff comes back to the age of these airplanes.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with it. Also, too, for people that are interested in looking up a lot of these accidents and stuff like that, there's a great channel on YouTube called the Flight Channel that does a lot of reenactments of these accidents, and some of them even have they have the little audio of the pilot's last words before they die. So, like, if you really want to get to know or get a little bit more understanding, that's a good resource. And then also, there's a woman that I follow. There's a pilot that I follow. She's a former pilot. She's a flight. Her name is Carlene Pettit, and she was involved in like a big lawsuit with Delta. Like I think 14? So about 24, about 8 years ago, where she was basically like a whistleblower trying to say, going to the feds and saying that, listen, the Delta is trying to skirt some issues going on with safety and whatnot, and they fired her from the job. But the way they fired her was despicable. So they had her go to like a company sponsored doctor or whatever, and they paid the doctor to diagnose her as I'm paraphrasing here, but it's like mentally inefficient, put it like that. She wasn't mentally competent to fly. This shit is deep, bro. This DEI shit ain't when it comes to airplanes. This shit been going on, bro. Like, I'm telling you, this ain't nothing new when it comes to airplanes. My advice, if people are so concerned, and if you're traveling, just watch the kind of air equipment that you're flying on. I'm not flying on those 737 MAX 8s. I'm only doing Airbuses. Matter of fact, since y'all so gung ho worry about DEI, fly Spirit. How about that? Spirit is golden. Fly Spirit. Fly Spirit Airlines. They don't do Boeing airplanes. They haven't had any crashes since their inception about 30-something years ago. Go on Spirit, and you're 99.999999999% chance to arrive at your destination on time. So there you go.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, man. Appreciate
I
you.
wanted to come through. Yeah, Hotep and Bill, bro.
Hotep and Bill. Let me talk to see what Jonah got to say. Somebody what they do is they send links to their Twitter spaces to get me to come. Pause. And you guys all know I don't like Twitter spaces. I think they're stupid. So I keep responding. It's $100 an hour to book me for a Twitter space. It's $100 an hour. So he's like, fine. Where's your manager? I said, and he said she doesn't answer DMs. If you can't contact Leah and get me booked, I can't help you. I'm not about to sit here. Look at this back and forth. Look at this back and forth I got here. He hit me up with a link, and I said, this was a few weeks ago. I said $100 an hour. And now he says, bro, I'll book you. Where's the manager? Where's the link? I said, she's in my bio. And he said, she doesn't answer DMs. I want to get you on a space with Tim Black. It would be good for both of our platforms. I'm not responding to the DM. Like, if you can't get in touch with my manager, you're not competent enough to work with me. It just is what it is. Jonah, what's up, yo?
Nada. Let's go to the DMs because everyone's missing the point on the airline shit. Because why are they starting to report it? Oh, didn't remember that crazy-eyed bitch that you're in love with introduced that new Green Deal where it talks about reducing airline travel. How do you do that? You make everyone scared to fly. But what I sent you in the DMs is far better, and we want to scroll up to the Reuters article.
All right, hold on. Let me go to the Reuters article.
Because the SEC tried to pull tried pulling a Federal Reserve Act.
New York Stock Exchange pulls plan for environmentally sustainable asset class.
Yeah. Wealth funds that are allowed to purchase national parks, etc., and actually tax you for air. Yeah, so it was pulled, but now it's still technically to be pushed through, right? Now the other thing that I put in there was the Treasury, whatever, or the Treasury from Utah. So the Utah Treasurer was the first person who kind of figured it out. And since then, he's got like 22 different other state treasurers, a bunch of governors, everything. Everyone was like, "Yeah, no, that ain't fucking happening."
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's far more important than anything else. Right? They're literally.
So what are you
trying to
saying here,
tax you
Jonah?
for air.
Can you boil this down for me? Because you tend to get too in the weeds, and it goes over our head.
They try to tax you for air and allowing foreign countries to buy up your national parks to tax you for air.
Ah, then we're paying international tax.
Dude, to breathe air, like literally,
Yeah.
it's called an NAC, a natural asset company.
Okay.
So anyone who wants to look that up, it's a natural asset company.
Yeah, I'm looking at that here, the NAC proposal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I put one in there where a couple of screen grabs from the SEC filing where it's literally saying that they can actually regulate clean air. How do you regulate it as a government?
Let's see. It says new subsection, exchange proposes that, manage, maintain, restore, grow the value of natural assets and their production of ecosystem services. We're doing so is consistent with the company's primary purpose. NAC will seek to conduct sustainable revenue-generating operations. As proposed, sustainable operations are those activities that do not cause any material adverse impact on the condition of the natural assets under the NAC's control, and that seek to replenish the natural resources being used. As proposed, NACs could also engage in other activities that support community well-being, provided such activities are sustainable. Interesting. So the NAC
so it's
is
still
what we
open
got
for
to take a
comment too
look
right
at.
now too, right?
Huh?
It's still open for comment too until Thursday this week, I think. But
okay.
So that's something that I came on. I was like, what the? So they're trying to slide that in. So the original, when they pulled it originally was December 18th. They were trying to slide in like the Federal Reserve Act at first.
It says here, the exchange also states that these and other benefits derived from ecosystems are called ecosystem services, and in aggregate, economists estimate their value at more than $100 trillion per year. And that examples of ecosystem services include clean air, water supply, flood protection, productive soils for agriculture, climate stability, and habitat for wildlife, among others.
This is a bigger scam than derivatives. And that's how they get $100 trillion value, because they're going to tax air for everything. And then fucking when they steal all the wealth, they're going to sell, stick everyone with the bailout. You know what I mean?
This is like the Lorax.
Yeah, that whole thing's hilarious. So I thought I'd put that out there for everyone to look into. Again, that's natural asset companies. It's up for Thursday is the end of questioning, I believe. So now this all might get strict down with the whole Chevron shit, but that's a whole other story. And I won't bring it because your channel or whatever, but I will point out that software selection company is in court right now for the 2016, and it's hilarious what they are already admitting in court.
Who?
That software, the ones that they're used in. No. the Dominion of Canada, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Oh, they're in court right now. Yeah, I did see something about that.
Yeah,
what's going on with that?
They're already the report. It's because it's from 2016. That's why it's still out in court, right? But it's they're like, these G's are garbage. You have no way to validate who you voted for because of the tabulators, everything. This is all admitted facts in court.
Yeah.
So if anyone's interested in that too, you can definitely look into it. But again, too, I didn't want to bring that up on your channel, so to speak.
Yeah.
So anyway.
All right. Appreciate you, man. Hotep and Bill.
Again, that Nasdaq company, for everyone listening, you need to look into it because that's the most egregious thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Hotep and Bill.
Hotep and Bill. Jonah again with another swish. I got this interesting take here from Goldstein he just sent in. He said, what if this malfunctioning, quote unquote, bullshit as it pertains to Boeing and possibly others down the line is a result of corporate type stealing money in a the ship is sinking, let me get as much as I can type way, and knowing that shortage of money would manifest in shitty product? Is floating this DI shit a red herring? That's a very compelling take, because when I looked at the whole plane malfunctioning, I failed to follow the line of reasoning between plane malfunction and DEI. I'm like, I don't even see the connection there. So that was a huge blind spot for me. And what Goldstein is saying makes sense. Now it's filling that in. This is just a red herring, this whole DEI thing, to take the fall for something more mischievous. Somebody also in the chat was talking about the shortage of workers, maintenance staff. That also is true. Industry espionage, yeah. So DEI, aka Black people, taking the fall once again for something that is just way more nefarious than just trying to get a black person hired to fly an airplane. Quite odd. And everybody's sort of falling for it, you know. All right, I shouldn't even say they're falling for it. They try to trick others to fall for it because they're just grifting. You know, they just want the clicks. Oh, look, DEI bad. So DEI bad. DEI equals bad. So that equals post about it, complain, get clicks and followers and all of that stuff. So it's part of the grift. For whatever that's worth. Which brings me to my next point. Go get your tickets to the Grifties, grifties.com. Go get your tickets to the greatest award show on the planet. I got another ad coming out soon. I recorded the video today that's going to edit with our all-star lineup. Primetime 99, Alex Stein, Sonny Johnson, Shane Cashman, Phil Labonte, Chrissy Mayer, Sam Tripoli, and Hotep Nation's very own Candid Hotep. So make sure y'all go get y'all tickets. More announcements coming soon. We might have some big names coming in from Fox. Obviously, those guys are super busy and super booked, so really hard to confirm them this far out. But we are looking to just pack the special guests something crazy. So, and I spoke to Fresh Mike this weekend. And I got to apologize to him. He called me like right when I woke up and I just wasn't in the mood to talk. But I heard him. So we're trying to figure out what we're going to do for pre and post events. I don't know what I want to do. I just know that Saturday day we should probably crash Jabari's spot, do lunch down there, and then come back to the hotel, get prepared for the event is what I'm thinking is a good idea. So maybe we'll do something Friday night. And then, or maybe we'll do Jabari's spot Friday night and then maybe like a signing table pre-event at the hotel on Saturday. That probably makes the most sense. We should probably crash Jabari's spot because not everybody's going to want to crash Jabari's spot, right? It's probably going to be like an exclusive, handful of us that'll crash Jabari's spot. And then we'll do like the celebrity signing or a meet and greet at the hotel before the event, and then have the event. Then we have the VIP event after. I think that's upstairs, directly after the awards show. Anyway, get your tickets, grifties.com. It's going to be epic. I hate using that word because it's just so cliche, but it's going to be one for the books. You're not going to find an event like this anywhere. I mean, where are you going to find real black people with real white people talking about real shit in a comedy venue? Anytime you do this, it's usually all black or all white, non-political. And usually when they have it with the white people, it's usually milk toast and boring and whack. At least so I hear. Anyway, grifties.com. Go get your tickets. Today is Monday. Chess Monday. Hotep Monday. So chess lessons will start around 8:15 tonight on kick.com/Hotep Jesus. And then another dose of Hotep's Been Told You with Uncle Hotep tonight. Today's my busy day. So tonight, 10 p.m. live, patreon.com/Hotep's Been Told You. Join over there to get an extra dose of Hotep's Been Told You. Be well, stay merry, tell somebody in your family that you love them, and I'll see you later. Hotep and Bill.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How am I supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in.
How'd you get that done so quick?
They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there. You understand?
You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.